should have let the music go just a tad longer because it like cuts it right off. Like we're just getting into like that last little groove piece, and then it's like boom, done. Here we are.
Done.
Hello world. And a little
That's
echo.
me.
I'm Allie with the Right Place, Right Time, and this is the fabulous
Kameka Tate. Let me assist you.
Let me assist you. And she does assist me, folks. In fact, according to Asana's 2024 annual review, she is my #1 collaborator, having completed 776 tasks this year. Is that what it was?
Wow.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. So she is assisting me hundreds of times over throughout the year. And here this week, she's assisting me with the Ho 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 show. Today is day 4. We're going to be live one more time tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern. So we are here to do some holiday fun, some hot seat action of stumping me in the spot with some questions, and a hotline portion of answering your writing and publishing questions. So this is really for aspiring authors or published authors who have things that they want to ask a real expert on real time. We've collected some of those questions ahead of schedule. So we'll go through some of those today, unless we've got people joining us live, in which case we want to hear from you. So let us know that you're here by dropping yourself into the comments in some way. Kameka and I used to do this show the last couple of years. It was like a giveaway show. We changed it up for this year. I'm liking this method. I'm liking this 3-3-3, not to mention our sweet little intro and outro video. We have moved up in the world.
We're fancy.
We are fancy. We got our banners. We got our backgrounds. So we are crushing it this year. Now, Kameka, would you like to tell them all what we would really like them to do? Not just tune into this video, but where do we want them to head and why do we want them to head there?
Definitely. I was grabbing that link just as you were saying that. We want you to head over to the email list, because if you think this is cool, you're missing out on 12 days of giveaways. And it isn't just one giveaway a day. I mean, it's like multiple things every day.
Yep. Specifically, for example, it's 12 days of Christmas, right? And so on the first day, we did one thing. On the second day, we did 2 things. On the third day, we did 3 things, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So by the time we get to the 12th day, there are going to be 12 things listed in that email. So we want you to take advantage of the free stuff that's zipping around in those emails. Beyond that, only my email list is getting access to the TWPRT holiday catalog. So I have a handful of things that are on sale and discounted until the 17th of this month. But only the people who are on the email list are getting access to those things. So get on over there and get the goods while the getting is good. Hey, Christy, glad you're back with us today. It's Ugly Sweater Day, as you can see. I know we didn't plan it. And if you're wondering who is on my shirt because you can see its ears, it is the Christmas llama. Oh, I disappeared. Whoa. I'm not even going to try. There's a llama on my shirt.
It's a llama.
Llama, Christmas pajama. Okay. So kicking off today's show, we're starting, as always, with our holiday segment. And today, it's trivia. All right. Kameka, you ready for some holiday trivia?
I am.
All right, Chrissy, you can play along. You're in the comments with us, so maybe you're going to know the answers and we don't. Okay, holiday trivia. Which country started the Christmas tree tradition and was believed to hide a pickle as a decoration? Germany.
I'm going to go with that. I'm like, I feel like I know this, but we don't do it. Do you do it?
We do hide the pickle. We hide multiple pickles, actually. We have several different sizes of pickles. I feel like it started in Germany. So that's what I'm going to go with. We'll review the answers in a second. Okay. 2. In what modern day country was Saint Nicholas born? Poland? Sweden? Oh, Kameka, are you frozen? No. folks. We've lost her. Oh, she's back.
Sorry, we're in a winter storm. I'm just looking out the window.
Nice. Okay. I was suggesting that St. Nicholas was born in Sweden or Poland.
I'm gonna say, yeah, Sweden feels right.
Sweden feels good.
I'm like, okay with your answer. I have no freaking idea.
I don't know. Okay. Where does eggnog originate from?
Eggs. No, I don't.
Where does eggnog originate from? I wonder if that means country or if that means tradition or if that means, like, I feel like where is kind of a broad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where does it originate from?
Like horchata. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to go with London. I feel like they do a lot of nog, right? I don't know. Okay. All right. This one should be easy. How many ghosts visit Scrooge in A Christmas Carol?
Okay, 3. Got that one.
Wait a minute, though. Past, present, future. Is Marley considered past or is Marley separate?
Oh, that's a trick question. I'm still going with 3, but
all right, we're gonna.
That could be a trick question.
Okay, now I feel like I gotta go watch that one because it's been a minute. Okay, what is another name for a Christmas tree? Tannenbaum. Right? Is it like
like a pine?
Christmas tree.
Yeah, Tannenbaum. Yeah.
Okay,
these are freaking hard.
Thank you, intern, for helping us. We purposely had somebody else get these questions so we didn't know ahead of time, and so you could see us struggle on air.
Clearly.
All right, let's see what the answers are. Okay. Which country started the Christmas tree tradition and was believed to hide a pickle? Germany.
Okay.
All right, we got one.
You got that.
Okay. You agreed. It was a team effort. In what modern day country was St. Nicholas born? Turkey.
Oh.
Okay. Where does eggnog originate from? Okay, I specifically said London, but the answer is England.
And I was like, I don't freaking know.
I was pretty close. I was close. London is in England.
It counts.
Okay. How many ghosts visit Scrooge? 4.
4. Okay.
All right. So we were tricked. We were stumped. And what is another name for a Christmas tree? Yule tree.
Well, I'll be damned.
Not rock that so much. We should go back to Christmas Carol riddles and free association through the alphabet.
That was hard.
That one was hard. What's tomorrow's activity? Yikes.
I don't know.
Oh, tomorrow is a fill in the blank. So who knows what's going to happen there. Okay, let's move on and let's get into our hotline segment. All right, so this is answering on air writing and publishing questions that you have that you're either submitting live or you've submitted ahead of time. So Christy and whoever else is checking this out now, feel free to drop things into the comments if you have them. Otherwise, we're going to take some questions that were submitted to Kameka in advance. Kameka, what do we got?
So one of the questions is, what happens if I exceed my word count in my contract with my publisher?
Oh, such a great question. So there's a couple of reasons why this matters. When your word count starts to exceed the original contract amount, that words equate eventually to page space. Page space translates into people who are going to be doing the interior layout and design, which means that the more pages that they have to lay out and design, right, the more there's a cost associated with them, right? The other thing that happens is that when your words begin to creep beyond what you've originally agreed upon, the more words, the more pages, the bigger the spine. The bigger the spine and the weight of the book, the higher the cost to produce the book. The higher the cost to produce the book, the more you have to charge your reader for the book, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's not just like, what's the big deal? I wrote another 50 pages. Ugh. Okay. So Another 50 pages in a Word document or a Google document is like almost twice as many, because you're on a Word or Google document, you're writing according to like 8.5 by 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
But our books are not 8.5 by 11 size. Our books are like 5 by 8 or 6 by 9, right? Which means that you can't fit the amount of words into a published page as you do in like a Word document. So your 50 extra pages, while seems not that big a deal, ends up actually translating to be a very big deal. Okay, so first you need to understand, why does that word creep or scope creep even matter? How does it translate down the end? So if you're starting to go above your word count, a lot of publishers will actually bake in like a margin for overage. So maybe an extra 3,000 or 5,000 words doesn't change the trajectory of things in a really big way, but 10,000 words, 20,000 words, right? Now we getting into something. So what you really want to do is look at your contract and speak to your publisher about what exactly is the extended amount of words that you're over. Have they already baked in a buffer for that? If not, what are the implications of having gone above and beyond your word count allotment? So you can then make some decisions about whether or not it's worth having a bigger manuscript, bigger book, and paying a little extra, or do you need to do some rework in the manuscript to cut out some material so that you can stay within your word count parameter.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, that just blew my mind. I've been working with you for like 4 years. And I'm like, what?
There are so many pieces to this, and this is why authors get overwhelmed. Like, as you would blame them. There's so many things to this, so many things to know.
So many hidden surprises
that people don't think of, totally unrelated to word count, but I've been seeing this a ton lately working with clients, is people get so fixated drafting in their Google Docs or Word docs that they do things like, they'll say something like, according to the above, like referring to something that's on the page before, right? Because when we're on a screen, we're scrolling down. So stuff is above and stuff is below. But the problem is when you go to publish, you're not going above and below, you're going left to right, right? And even then you wouldn't say things like to the left, to the set over here, you know, like it's not the shuffle. So
right.
You have to say things like on page, whatever, or as I previously stated, or, you know, the aforementioned examples or whatever it is, but none of this above, below, left and right, whatever. Take it out of your vocabulary.
That's crazy. That's why you need a book writing coach.
Book writing coach right here. All right. We got anything else that came in ahead of time?
Yes. So what should I prioritize more, working on my manuscript or working on my platform?
Okay, lots of people in this space will say, you got to do both. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. You do have to nurture an audience and build an online presence, also known as platform. Otherwise, there won't be anybody for the book by the time the book comes out, right? So if you don't have an audience waiting for the book, you got a harder lift in getting that book into readers' hands once the book is available if you've done nothing to nurture the reader. However, if you don't write the manuscript, all of that effort is for nothing, right? Like all that nurturing of the audience is for nothing if you don't have a book to actually give them that you've been talking about. My thought process here is that the percentages of where you should be spending your time shifts the further into the journey. So like in the beginning, when you're like drafting, I think it should be like 80-20. 80% of your time should really be like digging in and getting your manuscript where it needs to be. And 20% is kind of like fostering that online presence and audience. Then as you get further into the development of the manuscript, you know who you're talking to, you know why it's relevant to them, you know what you're actually saying. You've got little clips and excerpts that are decent enough to share. You've got content you can talk about. Then you want to shift things, and maybe it's 70-30, right? And then you're into really developing, and now it's off with some other editor and you're sitting and waiting for some feedback. Maybe it's like 60-40 in the opposite direction, or even, 50-50, right? Now, while you're waiting to get the feedback from the editor, you're really hitting on your online presence and your platform. So, I think when people say things like, oh, well, you need to do both, that's overwhelming to hear, because it sounds like you have to do both of them at equal intensity or equal emphasis or priority. And I don't think it's that cut and dry. Authors need permission to actually write. They need to get the manuscripts done, or there's no point in anything else. Like, if there's no manuscript, there's no book. If there's no book, then all that work you've done in building a presence for it doesn't matter.
Right.
It amounts to nothing. So Godspeed, y'all. You gotta there's a lot to be done.
Very true. Very true. So, I mean, this question is off the top of my head, Brent. So when someone is with a publisher, like say they have a publisher and they're working on their manuscript and they're trying to build their platform, does the publisher sort of help them build their platform, or is this all on them?
Ooh, that's a good question off the top of your head, Kameka. And this is actually something that authors really need to know, especially those that are not yet working with a publisher. Regardless of what publishing avenue people take, traditional, hybrid, independent, some other mix that's out there, most of the time, marketing and platform building is on the author.
Okay.
Even if you buy into a package from one of those publishers that has a little bit of marketing support, it's not going to be in like totally and completely building out your online presence and platform in this kind of like do it yourself way, done for you kind of way. They're going to give you pieces and parts that you can utilize or leverage, or you can sometimes pay into a higher package and they will do more of the marketing and platform stuff for you. But a lot of the time that's on you. And a lot of the time, quite honestly, you're still the best spokesperson for your book. You know it the most intimately. You care about it the most. At the end of the day, while there are some really heart-centered publishers out there, they are businesses and they are publishing multiple books and multiple authors at one time, like simultaneously. So they can't give your book their undivided attention in the way that you can. You're just working on a book. They're working on several books. Right. And sometimes across several genres. So them trying to provide the attention that you want for them to kind of just like take over the marketing and platform piece isn't really all that realistic. And this is also why there's like separate agencies that are for authors marketing and assisting authors in that piece. And then there's also why there's different tiers of publishing packages, because some authors have the buck ready to just slap it down and say, do it for me. I want it done well, and I don't want to put the time and effort and energy into it. But even then, like, I don't really know if a publisher can do it the way an author can at the end of the day.
Right.
Christy writes in the chat, totally agree about the time spent with the manuscript versus platform. When you are reading my manuscript, I work on my platform and marketing. Yes, exactly. Like that's that nice, like, things are still happening. You're still progressing in the same direction. It's just, what are you doing versus what is your team member doing? And writing and publishing a book is a team sport. Like that's the other piece of this, right? There's coaches, there's editors, there's cover designers, there's interior layout people. I mean, even when you work with a publisher, right? Publisher's not doing all the bits and pieces. Like the publisher is farming out the bits and pieces to their experts who do those individual steps that brings the book into fruition, right? So that it's a final product that can be sold. So like, even if an author develops the manuscript all by themselves for a while, at some point, that book is starting to touch lots of hands, lots of people. And a lot of the time, an author is never doing an entire book start to finish by themselves. Even self-published authors, right, shouldn't be doing it entirely on their own. Self-published authors should be paying for professional editing, professional cover design, right? Like I would never recommend that a self-published author do all of that by themselves. They're not a genius in all of it, and they will end up with a crappy looking product. And it'll give their book a bad name.
Right. First impressions are everything.
Yeah, this whole like, oh, we don't judge a book by its cover. Yes, we abso-freaking-lutely do.
Yes, we do.
So
We
if
do.
you're not gonna skimp on anything, don't skimp on the way the book looks. Okay, and that's both exterior and interior. So it's not just good cover design; it's also good interior design, my friends. Very
Yes.
important. Okay,
In
I
editing.
like to say, like, do you want the present under the tree that looks like the poop emoji, or do you want the present under the tree that has the ribbon and the bells and the bows and glistens in the light, right? Ain't nobody reaching for the poop emoji present.
Right.
Unless you're my 9-year-old. It's a 9-year-old thing. But
It is.
often we're not reaching for the crummy looking present, even if there's beautiful things on the inside. We're just not. Let's be real.
True. You know, I've definitely DNF'd a book, which if you don't know what that means is do not finish a book because of editing. And I'm like, I can't do it. I'm done.
I cannot read this anymore.
Yeah.
I remember just this past year, there was a client who was really good about reading the type of book that she was working on. And one day she sent me an audio message and she was like, I could not finish this book because it was so awful. She was like, I am terrified that my memoir will read like this one. She was like, I don't understand why it's relevant. There was like, it was just a bunch of stream of consciousness writing. Like, it didn't seem like anybody else had looked at it to help her. Like, it was poorly edited, all these things. And it's like, yeah, readers know. Readers get it. Readers know what a good book looks like. And not all of us are like, must finish it because I started it types of readers.
No.
So
I'll quit that book quick.
quit that book. All right. I like that. Do not finish. DNF. I'm going to
DNF. Yeah.
DNF. All right. As we're approaching the top of the hour, let's move over to HOtseat. So this is a chance for people to ask questions about me personally, about writing, about my books, about my business, about things that I have no idea about. You can ask me some more holiday trivia if you want. I probably will get it wrong. So whatever you want to know, for the most part, I am here to answer. I am an open book. Kameka, what do we have from our people?
So the first question is, do you think you'll use any other pen names on your authoring journey for future books?
I have contemplated using a different pen name if I was to write fiction and novels, because they're so apart from what I've been writing. And the idea of like a different persona for a different genre is kind of fun and appealing. But the jury is out on that. I think the disadvantage of a different pen name is that then like my entire body of work isn't recognized under, one name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it's almost as if some of those books can't be acknowledged as being mine because people don't know that those other ones live underneath this other pen name. And the purpose of a pen name, right, is to kind of sort of keep your identity unknown, right?
Right.
Which has really valid reasons. But if I want my books to be seen as mine, then like I might be attached to having them under the same pen name that I've already started writing under.
Right.
AY, which is my initials. So it's not a pen name that's like impossible to connect back to me because it's also my real actual last name. Nobody can say it, but
I can say it and spell it.
You've been around a long time. So I don't know. It's fun to think about and toy around with, but I haven't drawn a hard line in the sand yet. It's a good question.
Okay. I've got another. Once you have worked with someone in the publishing industry, can you rely on them to work with you again? I think that's like a personal question that was coming in.
Well, I definitely have clients that return. for new projects or for a next phase of something that we haven't quite finished, like really rounding out. From a publishing partner perspective, so like cover designers, editors, things like that. Once I develop a really solid working relationship with another service provider in the space, and they've been reliable, professional, the client has reported good things about them, then they're like my top go-to people. Anytime I have like another project, I often reach for the people I've already had really good experiences with. This is obviously then difficult with new people, right? New service providers who I might have gotten a call with, had a really good synergy, but I haven't used them yet. So those are always kind of a gamble. But it's the only way to really know if it's going to be a good working relationship and clients are going to like working with them. So I've often referred to the same people, but I can say that there are people that I have known, liked, and trusted that I've used that clients have reported back. They've gotten a different experience than what I was anticipating or expecting from that person. So then I have to really call into question, like, okay, they maybe know their stuff or their heart's in the right place, but maybe their execution of things is not where it needs to be. And so when it comes to that, I side on the side of my client. Like, you know, I work really hard and really deeply and intimately with my clients on their book projects. I want for them the best, the absolute best. So if they come back to me and they say that my referral or my introduction isn't panning out to some extent, I feel that really deeply because of having made that connection. Right. And so, you know, I will either try to troubleshoot with them how to get through it. I might step in, I might communicate on their behalf. But then likely on the other side, I'm probably not making that recommendation to another client, or I will tell that client about this person, but give them the experience of a prior client or have them meet with the prior client to get their impression. So yeah, I'm hardcore. I want the best. But, you know, the other thing is like, this stuff is expensive. Writing and publishing a book when you're doing it on your own and not going traditional, like, is expensive, right? So I know what people have paid me by the time the manuscript is ready to move on. That's already a chunk, right? I don't take that lightly either. I know often what my partners are charging for their part. So it's like, by the time my client is moving on to somebody that I know, like, and trust, and I know that there's big bucks on the line, like, right. I expect quality service and output for those clients. Like, so yeah, don't mess with my people. I will be cutthroat.
I love that. But that's the type of coach you want. I mean, that's the type of person you want on your side.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. They're not great conversations to have. I will say that it's extremely uncomfortable to be the middleman, knowing that a client is unhappy with a provider that I've introduced or referred to, or that I really believed in, and then something falls apart here. And then I'm the one that's like troubleshooting with the client, maybe having to go and communicate with the provider. I try to empower them to communicate with each other, because ultimately it's their relationship, right? Like, I'm not an official mediator, but at the same time, I do feel like this onus of responsibility to try to mediate these issues so that everybody has a good experience. And ultimately the book ends up the best it possibly can be, right, on the other side. Yeah.
Right.
Whew. All right, man. People are just getting those questions hard.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. That was a tough one.
You got me. Whoever submitted that question, you got me.
That was a tough one.
That was a tough one. All right. Kameka, I have to know, because yesterday we were talking about White Christmas. You'd never seen it. What's the verdict?
You have a comment.
Having just compared several publishers, I found many with comparable prices, but it was good to see the dollar industry standards. You have to dig a lot deeper than price. Yes. Yeah. It's not just about price. Values, intention, mission, what their portfolio looks like, what their clients have to say about their experience. I mean, there's so many pieces to vetting a publisher to make sure you have the right partner. 100%. Great comment.
So true.
So true. So White Christmas.
So here's the thing. White Christmas. Turns out I did actually see the movie, but years ago, and I couldn't remember it. So as we're watching it, I'm like, I've seen this. I feel like I've seen this. So I watched it with my children for the first time, and they loved it. The highlight was that we saw, what was her name? Mary Wickies, I think is her name. She's from Sister Act. She's the choir director. And because we recently watched that, and my children were like, she looks familiar. She sounds familiar. And I was like, she does, but I can't place her. So we looked up, and I was like, oh, she's the choir director from Sister Act. And they were like, oh.
Just several years younger.
Yes.
Yes.
So they loved it. I loved it again. This was my second time seeing it, which I couldn't remember. But it was a thrill to watch it with my children for the first time. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And you know how I remember watching it the first time, because I thought of you, because I was like, oh, they're going to Vermont. They're going to Vermont. Yes. And I remember thinking, I thought Vermont is beautiful in the wintertime. I was like, I want to go to Vermont. And I remember thinking that. And I was like, oh, I wonder what Ali should send me pictures.
Yeah. True story, though. There is no Pine Tree, Vermont. And I don't think that movie was even filmed here. I can't even tell you how devastated I was when I found that out.
Hilarious.
I was like, here I was, all attached to this beautiful Christmas movie being Vermont based, right? And then just like rip it all away.
They should build that, because
they should build
people
that.
would totally visit.
Yeah, totally beautiful inn. And yeah, just love it. I haven't watched it yet this year, so I got to get on it. One year, I think I watched it 27 times between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I was in either undergrad or graduate school, and I just like every day it was just on in the background as I was like working on homework or like whatever.
It's your comfort movie.
Totally one of my comfort movies, 100%. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up today's Ho 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 show. Your questions have been great. It's been fun to be in here talking about all the things. Remember, head on over to the Right Place, Right Time, jump on the email list, get access to the 12 days of Christmas giveaways for the month. Get the ability to shop the catalog for the holiday season. The deals are good until the 17th of December. And remember that we are live one more time tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern, the last day of the Ho 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 show for 2024. I've been having so much fun. I don't want it to end. So thanks for being with us today. And hopefully we're going to be catching you tomorrow. Ciao.